Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the SUTD session on admissions, scholarships, and special program. My name is Lim Su Fang. I'm the Director of Admissions at the SUTD. I hope after the very uplifting video that you just viewed just now, you're all very pumped up to find out more about what SUTD has to offer. So for the next half an hour, I will share with you exactly what SUTD stands for as an education institution, what's our educational philosophy, and what are some of our distinctive offerings in terms of programs and also the unique learning environment that will really give you a head start in your future career. After that sharing, that should leave us about 15 minutes or so to answer any questions that you may have. In order to make sure that we keep on time, may I request all of you to keep your questions until the Q&A segment, at which point you can unmute yourself to ask the questions, or you can actually post your questions via the chat function in the Zoom. My colleagues, I have two colleagues with me here, Daya and Charmaine, and myself, we will try our very best to address as many questions as we can. All right, so with that, I think we can all get started on the program proper, on the sharing. All right. Now, I do know that the higher education landscape is now very vibrant with many high quality options in Singapore for all of you to choose from. So you are really spoiled for choice. In fact, in particular for SUTD, beyond providing all of you another high quality option for those students who are interested in technology and design, more importantly, SUTD, when we were first established, we were charged with the mission to reinvent engineering, computing, and architecture education. And we do that by bringing together different disciplines. And we provide a design-centric educational model, and we emphasize on bringing theories, bringing book knowledge, and applying it into solving real-world problems. Of course, we also, built on the foundations of our strategic partnerships. We adapted upon MIT's DNA for our curriculum. We infused the Chinese perspectives through electives that are taught by Zhejiang University. And in doing so, the graduates from SUTD are not just future ready. They are not just your traditional engineers or architects or computer scientists, but more importantly, through this unique approach, our graduates are out there creating the future. Our graduates are technically grounded leaders and innovators who are able to build a better world and serve societal needs through their breakthrough ideas and breakthrough solutions. Now, in the past 10 years, SUTD has made great strides. In 2018, we topped the list of emerging engineering schools in the world, ahead of many other very established universities and even specialized engineering colleges. In research, we have also achieved global recognition in specific fields. For example, in telecommunications, we were ranked as 5th most influential and the only non-US university to make that list. In computing, we were recognized as 6th in the world, especially in the area of NLP. Other than that, our graduates are very much well received by the industry, very much sought after. Many of them were hired in Smart Nation related jobs across diverse sectors, from GLCs to tech companies, product companies like Dyson, tech companies like Facebook, Google, to even banks and consulting firms. In fact, our graduates were hired in across 78% of the key industries that drive our economic growth. And I think that goes to show how versatile our graduates are, despite the fact that in SUTD, we only offer at that time 3 engineering programs and 1 architecture program. A number of our students also went on to further their studies, and they have been accepted at renowned schools, graduate schools globally, including the likes of Columbia, Carnegie Mellon, Harvard, Imperial, and so on. A number of our students, having been inspired by the innovative and entrepreneurial culture of the university, also went on to start their own companies, some of them while they are still a student in the university. In fact, our graduates, after spending 4 years in the university, went away with a very high perception of their skill sets, specifically the 21st century skill sets, where they outperformed their peers, their graduates from other universities in nearly all aspects. And in particular, their belief in being very well prepared for the job market. Our graduates also believe that they have they go away with a very multidisciplinary knowledge and skills, and that they are highly creative and innovative. I think all these results that are highlighted really are a strong testament, a strong endorsement of SUTD's unique formula when we made that bold move 10 years ago to really transform the way students learn and what they learn. And I think we are all very much aware the current environment that we are at. A lot of the challenges that we see, what we call 21st century challenges that we see, are often large scale, complex, multifaceted. And I think the pandemic situation that we're in right now further drives home this point, that what could actually start off as seemingly a healthcare problem will have impact on other areas, on jobs, on the economy, on our natural environment, on the way we live our lives, on the way cities are being designed. And therefore, the solutions to solving such complex problems, large-scale complex problems, often require students, people to bring together knowledge across different disciplines. And because a lot of the problems that we face are unprecedented, there's also no set solution or no handbook on how you can solve this problem. And this is where design thinking, design innovation comes in, because it is about a systematic approach to thinking out of the box and asking the right questions and solving it by bringing different knowledge together. And that's why in SUTD, design is our core. It's not just in our name. It is not just taught as a single subject within the university, but it permeates throughout SUTD's curriculum in the form of design projects that students get to do within the subjects that they do, across different subjects that they take in that term, across the academic years, and even outside of their curriculum. In fact, on average, our students, by the time they graduate from this university, would have worked on at least 20 different real-world design projects, which are reflected in their transcript. And I think that is really quite distinctive of any university. Another aspect of SUTD that we hold very close to our heart is our emphasis on active collaborative learning. As I mentioned right from the beginning, we believe that book knowledge needs to be applied. It cannot just be a theory. And here we believe in bringing theories to life through hands-on practice, through the various collaborative projects that we work on. In this university, our student-to-faculty ratio is amongst one of the lowest, 11:1. So students do not just learn from their professors, but they also learn from their peers. And in every cohort classroom where we have maximum of 50 students, we have 2 instructors, 1 teaching assistant, we have 2 3D printers right in that cohort classroom. So the ideas that students have can be brought to life almost immediately. Just to give you some examples of what we mean by active learning and design project, this is an example of a 2D design project that students do in their first year, freshman year. In this case, they have to apply what they learn across 2 different subjects, in math or in physics, in chemistry or in humanities and social sciences, to design a sugar rocket where they subsequently have fun launching at the rooftop of one of the buildings. Another example is the final year capstone project. This is a multidisciplinary project which requires students from across different majors to come together to work on an industry or entrepreneurial project. Of course, we also recognize in SUTD that learning goes beyond the classroom. It goes beyond Singapore because, again, the problems that we face are often global in nature. So we provide 100% of our students the opportunities to have this global exposure, be it in the form of summer program, academic term exchange, where they spend 1 entire semester studying in a partner university overseas. It can be also in the form of overseas internship, or even as early as being in the first year, our freshman year, where they get to go on study trips to cities in ASEAN region especially, as part of their first year curriculum. So in fact, many students sometimes have more than more than one opportunity for overseas exposure. Of course, besides just studying, although our curriculum is very rigorous, we do set aside time and space for students to explore and be involved in things that are passionate about. I think it stems from our belief that creativity comes from doing things that you are passionate about. That's why every week we set aside Wednesday and Friday afternoons where there are no classes. And in the first 3 weeks of January, we also have what we call an independent activities period, where again, there are no classes and students are free to initiate their own activities. Despite being a small university with an enrollment of less than 500 students, we have more than 100 CCA groups. We call it fifth row because every semester students only do 4 subjects, and the 5th subject is what we call the CCA fifth row. So we have more than 100 interest groups and clubs for students to be involved in, and if they can't find anything that they like, they are free to find like-minded students and start their own. On top of that, we also have a residential program, which is a requirement for all our first-year students that further reinforces that cohort-based learning, networking that will be very useful in their subsequent, life in SUTD. So I shared a bit about SUTD's, unique learning environment and gave you a sneak preview of the student life. For the next part, I'm going to touch on what are some of our distinctive programs and offerings. Specifically, again, I highlighted earlier in the presentation that in SUTD, we emphasize bringing different disciplines together. I think some of you may have also seen from the news that more and more universities are coming up with interdisciplinary programs. And I think this is particularly important in the current environment. We are at the brink of Industry 4.0. Many technological transformations require students to be able to navigate between different disciplines. Well, for SUTD, that was where we were from the beginning. So in this university, you will graduate with more than just a mechanical engineering degree or electrical engineering or a computer science degree or information science degree, for example. More than just that, because simply that's also not how the world is organized. Instead, what we offer are interdisciplinary degree programs in the form of engineering product development, where students are able to apply what they learn in mechanical, electrical, material science to be able to design and develop products for applications in any sectors, any industry. We train engineering systems designers who essentially are able to understand and apply data science, decision science, economics, operations research to be able to optimize large scale and design systems that are able to run a lot more efficiently. And we're talking about the likes of supply chain system, energy systems, even financial systems. We train our ISTD, Information Systems Technology and Design graduates, are able to bring together both hardware and software design, which can then be applied in different areas, AI, security, big data, and so on. Our architecture students have a lot of, they get to use computer simulation, digital fabrication. They use a lot of technology to help them push the boundaries of designs and create more sustainable designs for the environment. And finally, last but not least, we also have our very new degree program, the Design and Artificial Intelligence program, where instead of coming up with better AI, this program is about using AI to help you design better products, better systems, better built environment that is able to respond more efficiently and more customized to the needs that you are designing for. Now, if all this program sounds very exciting, not to worry, because we also believe that students need to have the opportunity to be exposed to different disciplines, to be exposed to different fields, to discover your interests, discover your strength before making that decision on what your major ought to be. This is why the first 3 terms in SUTD, what we call the freshman terms, are common. This is quite similar to a lot of American universities, where you get to take modules that kind of give you a sneak preview into what each of these majors are about. So you only make that decision on which degree program to major in at the end of term 3. That choice is guaranteed. There is no further prerequisites. There's no further selection needed. There's no need for me to give you bonus points because you are guaranteed that choice. Now, another aspect about SUTD's curriculum design is that all students also learn humanities, arts, and social sciences. In fact, that makes up about 22% of the curriculum, because as technologies, you must understand you're designing for society, designing for people, and that requires an appreciation and understanding of humanities and social sciences as well. Of course, the other aspect is digital literacy, especially important in the current environment. So regardless of which major or degree programs our students are involved in, all students will get to take modules in AI, in data science. In fact, in the freshman year itself, the common year, you will already take modules such as computational thinking for design, and you get to learn programming in the data-driven world. So this will already give you foundational literacy, and should you decide to deep dive further, you can then choose the relevant majors accordingly. Once you are in your chosen majors, you will still have a lot of opportunities to pick and choose subjects or electives according to your own interests. These are what we call tracks. For example, in Beyond Industry 4.0, AI, financial business analytics. These are all tracks that students can choose once they decide that that's an area that they want to focus on. Other than that, not many people may know, but here in SUTD, all our students, engineering students in particular, have the option to also pursue a minor on top of their chosen major. So in 4 years' time, you can graduate with more than just a major, you can graduate with a minor on top of that as well. Now, for outstanding students who have the capacity and who have the interest to maximize your time while you are pursuing your undergraduate studies, we also offer 3 special programs that can stretch your potential. These are in entrepreneurship, in research, and also in medicine and healthcare. Regardless of which special programs you've chosen, there is no restriction on your choice of any of the 5 majors. I'm going to spend the next few minutes to share a little bit more about what each of these special programs are. So the first is the SUTD Technology Entrepreneurship Program, or STEP for short. Now, this program is very popular because it aims to nurture a very special group of entrepreneurial leaders who have the global perspective, global mindset, global sensitivity. Now, for those of you out there who already have this entrepreneurial aspiration, I think you will recognize the importance of having that global network, global perspective, because the market needs to go beyond Singapore. This is precisely what this program is able to provide. It is in fact an integrated program where you will graduate with 2 degrees at the end of 5 years. That will be a Bachelor of either Engineering or Science in one of the 5 majors, and a Master's of Science in Technology Entrepreneurship. Now, within this 5 years, you get to spend 1 entire year overseas outside of Singapore in not 1, but 2 of the world's most vibrant entrepreneurial hubs. You get to spend 1 term in the US. Currently, we're partnering with UC Berkeley Global, where you get to take courses there, and followed by a work immersion in the Bay Area. After that, you get to spend another term in China, again, one of the world's biggest markets. You can choose currently partnering with Zhejiang University in Hangzhou and also Xi'an Jiao Tong University. When you come back, you get the chance to work on an entrepreneurship capstone final year project and complete an individual master's dissertation in technology entrepreneurship. And this really will set you on a path to become or to be equipped with the entrepreneurial thinking and mindset, whether you go on to start your own company or to be an entrepreneur in MNC. Those are all possible career options. The next special program caters to those of you out there who are intellectually very curious. You have very deep problem solving and critical thinking skills, and you may be thinking of pursuing a more research-oriented career pathway. And if so, you might be interested in our SUTD Honours and Research Program, or SHARP for short. In this particular program, you will have the chance to take advanced topics even in the first year, what we call honours sessions, that introduces you to various, a wide variety of different research themes, can be in photonics or other areas. You get to work on different research projects under various faculty mentorship, and at the same time, you earn a very generous research stipend while doing so. And you also get a grant which will allow you to go to present your papers at overseas conferences, to visit research organizations and meet with top scientists and Nobel laureates globally as well. You get to do your internship locally and overseas in research centers. You get to complete your individual thesis even as an undergraduate while doing your bachelor studies. And of course, again, this will better prepare you to do your PhD or Masters of Engineering by Research after you graduate from the university, whether you want to continue in SUTD or other overseas universities. Okay, the third program I'm going to talk about is a very special collaboration with Duke-NUS Medical School in the SUTD-Duke-NUS Special Track. In fact, I think, again, I think I don't have to say too much about this, but we all can recognize that an area where innovations and breakthroughs are needed the most is really in the area of healthcare. And I think it has also become very clear that increasingly doctors need to know beyond, beyond medicine. Doctors, especially in this present age and time, should be also equipped with data science, with technical knowledge, and this is the motivation why SUTD and Duke-NUS are coming together. In fact, we are ahead of our time to provide this special pathway to nurture a very special group of clinician innovators, clinician entrepreneurs who can bring together their knowledge in engineering, technology, and design, as well as medicine, in order to accelerate medical breakthroughs, improve health outcomes for patients. So in this program, because Duke-NUS Doctor of Medicine program is offered as a graduate degree, you will first need to have a first degree, and in this case will be either an engineering, Bachelor of Engineering or Science from one of the 5 majors in SUTD, and you will gain conditional admission at the same to Duke-NUS at the same time as your admission to this university. While you are here, you will have a lot of opportunity to work on healthcare-related projects, take healthcare modules, and basically be prepared for your pathway in Duke-NUS later on. Now, later this afternoon at 2 o'clock, we do have a special session on the special track. So if any of you are interested, do join in that session. We also have, the Dean of Admissions from Duke-NUS joining our session later on. Okay, so those are our unique offerings. For the next part, I'm going to quickly touch on admission scholarships and also the financials before we open for Q&A. Now, regardless of whether you're applying for admission to our single degree, to our special programs, or for the SUTD scholarship, do note that you only need to put in one single application online. In the case of SUTD, we assess all our applicants comprehensively. This means that we take into consideration how prepared you are academically, as well as other personal attributes that will ensure that you will be able to do well and flourish in our environment. Academically, this is always a very common question. What's our cutoff? You'll find that we don't publish a grade profile like other universities do, because that's not how we assess our students. But instead, because of our emphasis on technology, we do find that students who have a better foundation in math and also in at least one science subject tend to do better. So I do have that profile indicated on this slide, and it's also on our website to give you a reference of the profile of students who we have offered admission previously. But it's not just a single grade. I like to emphasize that. We look at all information that you presented that will demonstrate to us that you have the academic ability to cope. Other than that, of course, we look at your teacher's recommendation, your personal insight, responses to personal insight questions, and your portfolio. And we do invite all shortlisted candidates to attend an interview with us so that we can get to know you personally beyond what you have indicated in your admission application. If you are applying for our special programs, just a point to note that the special programs are limited in the number of places that they offer. So, for example, for STEP, we enroll only about 30 students a year. For SHARP, we're looking at about a maximum of 20. And for the special track with Duke-NUS, just 10 students. So you can imagine how highly competitive and selective they are. That means that beyond strong academic results in CCA, we also look for specific traits that are more specific and relevant to the program that you're applying for. And in the event that you're not successful in the application for these special programs, we will automatically consider you for our single degree. Okay, now for very outstanding students, SUTD is also very generous in recognizing your talents, your ability. In fact, we offer about 200, we award about 200 bond-free scholarships a year, both SUTD and donor-sponsored scholarships. Out of these 200 scholarships, more than 100, more than half of the scholarships, on top of funding the tuition fees, also guarantees and provides funding for a global and overseas experience. And in particular, let me just highlight one of our top tier scholarship that's also just newly launched last year. That's the SUTD Global Excellence Scholarship. This is one of the top premier scholarships offered by the university. Beyond covering your tuition fees, providing an allowance and program fees and travel grant for your 8 to 12 weeks stint in the Global Leadership Program to Berkeley, Stanford, or Berlin and Zhejiang University. This scholarship also pledges another $15,000 for your graduate studies at SUTD and selected programs at SMU. So this scholarship is very attractive because it means that you are not forced to choose at the point of admission and decide at the point of admission what double degrees you want to take on, whether you need to take an integrated program. You can defer that decision until later on what is that postgrad degree that you want to pursue. All right. Now, if you are not awarded a scholarship, rest assured that there are also a lot of financial schemes available to support your studies. And especially if you're a Singapore citizen, there are really a lot of avenues available. Here, I highlight two in particular. For those who have financial need, SUTD has actually introduced our own education opportunity grant, which will complement the government bursary to help students with financial need offset your educational expenses. In fact, it provides a tiered support depending on your family income level. And for those who have the most financial need, this grant will be able to cover up to 100% of your tuition fees and hostel fees in the university. No additional selection criteria other than the financial background. There are no bonds and no limit to the number of recipients. So as long as you meet that profile, you are guaranteed that financial support. If you did not receive a scholarship, if you did not receive a financial aid from us, for Singapore citizens, we also provide a community grant of $1,500 per term, or a total of $12,000 for the entire undergraduate studies. And this will be able to help offset your fees in the university as well. So this is automatically given to you as long as you qualify and no application is needed. All right, so I hope that I think I've kept to time. That gives you a good idea of SUTD's unique offerings in terms of programs and also in terms of the learning environment. Of course, in 30 minutes, I won't be able to go into a lot of details, but there are sessions in the later part of the day with our for specific programs, which I hope you have signed up for. If not, I think you still be able to. You might still be able to do so. At this point, I'd like to open the floor for Q&A. If any of you want to ask a question, please feel free to unmute yourself and post that question, or send in that question via the chat function. Okay, while you're doing that, maybe I can still I can share a little bit more interesting facts about SUTD. One of the questions that we often ask is, what is the gender ratio in this university? I think it is a common perception that a technology school tend to be dominated by males, but it may be interesting to note that in SUTD, girls actually make up about 40% of our student population, our student community, and so I like to always assure all the boys and girls out there both that we have a very healthy ratio, and it provides a really very diverse environment for students coming into this university. We also have students coming from different background and profiles, those with A levels, poly, IB, and international qualifications as well. And that's why in a cohort-based setting in the first year, you will be grouped with students with different background, each and everyone contributing different perspective, different expertise to looking at a problem and solving problems.
Hi, I'm Wei Sheng from Hwa Chong Institution.
Hi, Wei Sheng. Yes, yeah.
Clarify again, what types of scholarships are available for non-Singaporeans?
Okay, that's a very good question. For SUTD, the scholarships that I shared with you earlier in the presentation, in fact, all the SUTD scholarships are open to students of all nationalities. Just a point to note that if you are international student, because the fees that international students pay are higher than that of a Singapore citizen, all our scholarships cover the tuition fees payable by a Singapore citizen, so that we are equitable to anybody receiving that scholarship. So if you are an international student receiving that scholarship, you just need to pay the fee difference between an international student and the Singapore citizen rate. So I hope that answers your question.
Yep, thanks a lot.
Okay. No problem. I see a question on how does hostel staying in SUTD work? Okay. I'm not sure what specific that you're asking, but maybe I can share in general. But that firstly, the hostel stay is required for all students in the first 2 terms of SUTD, and it's on a twin sharing basis in the first 2 freshmore terms. Thereafter, while it's not compulsory, you are welcome to apply to stay in the hostel, and it can be both single or twin sharing. In fact, when you apply to stay in the hostel, we will let you fill up a questionnaire on your lifestyle and personal preferences. This is where we will then use to help you find your match with a suitable roommate for the hostel. Okay. Okay, I think I've answered that question. There's another question from Justin. Is there a difference between enrolling and matriculating? Well, I guess it's a matter of how you interpret it, but essentially matriculation is a formal process where if you complete the necessary matriculation formalities, you will actually have a SUTD student card, which will allow you access to all the the university resources that we provide for our students. In fact, some of you may not know, but SUTD, especially if you are a Singapore citizen boy who has to serve national service, if you manage to ORD early, because now our term starts in September, if you complete your national service early, you can actually join us for an early matriculation exercise before term starts, where you will already receive a SUTD matriculation card. You can join in our CCA, our 5th row activities. You can use the university resources, and you'll be able to also take bridging modules before your start of term, because we do recognize that for a lot of boys, after spending 2 years in national service, some of that knowledge may get a bit rusty. So that bridging course will be available for students who participate in our early matriculation exercise. Okay, there is a question from Jing Heng about whether there are any opportunities for working or internship during the term break. Okay, so that's a very interesting question as well, because what I haven't mentioned earlier is that in fact, all our students are required to complete a 16 weeks internship as part of their graduation requirement. And today we have a career development center that helps our students with that internship arrangement. Helping as in we organize fairs where we bring potential companies and partners who offer internship, and we get students to then apply for this internship positions. And I think we have currently more than 800 industry partners who actually offer internship positions for our students. Okay. So that is definitely possible. If you are talking about working, yes, as a student, you are allowed, subject to compliance with the relevant MOM guidelines on the number of hours that you can work in a week. And even in SUTD, we also have a student helper scheme where if you help out with certain university departments, you can actually earn a stipend under that scheme as well. Okay, there is a question about the Special Scholarships Arrangement, SSA. Okay, so some of you may have heard that SUTD has this special arrangement called SSA. This is where every year, round about the end of the year, say October period, we will approach the schools to nominate their students who have done well in the school prelim results to apply to us early. Now, our normal application cycle usually opens when you get your final results. But in this case, we are going earlier before that, before your final results. We go to the schools and we ask the schools to nominate students who have done well and who are interested to apply to SUTD early under this SSA program. With the early application, what it means is that we, if they are nominated by the school and meets a certain profile, we will guarantee that all these nominees will be interviewed by the school, and you will get early consideration of an admission offer and possibly a scholarship offer as well. In many cases, we were able to make a firm offer based on what you have presented in your application, and that means that regardless of how you eventually do in the your A levels, should you not perform as well as expected, we don't need to know that. Our offer to you is a firm one. But should you do better, not to worry, you will not be shortchanged, because we do get the results from MOE, and we will be able to, we will review those offers, and if necessary, we will upgrade the offer that's given to you. When I say upgrade, that means that possibly you get a scholarship with a higher quantum or benefit. So if you are very interested in SUTD, do look out for the information in the later part of the year. We will send it through the school, and that's called the SSA program. Okay. Okay, there is another question on from Yen Ran, I think. Interviews for all shortlisted candidates who apply to SUTD or only for scholarship applications? Okay, so interviews are for all shortlisted applicants. So whether you're applying for scholarships, special programs, or just admission to single degree, as long as you are shortlisted, you are required to attend an interview with us. The interview format may vary depending on the profile of your application. But essentially, not to worry too much about the interview as well, because as I earlier mentioned, we really want to use the interview to get to know you more personally, beyond all the information that the academic information that you have presented. We want to know what is your preferred learning style, what are your aspirations, what are your dreams, what are the things that you are good at, and whether SUTD is an environment that can really bring the most out of you. And naturally, the interview is also a time at the same time for you to get to know us better and to clarify any questions that you have. So we like to tell students not to be too nervous or worried about the interviews, but to use it as a chance to express yourself, and to tell us more about who you are. Okay, any other questions? Maybe we can take one more question because the time is now 10:45. I'm just watching the time. Anybody has a last question? Oh, okay, I see one. How many international students do you have? Well, SUTD is a government public university, and that means that as with all public universities, we have a limited number of places for international students. In our case, currently international students, I would say, make up about 20% of our student population, and they come from quite diverse nationalities, more than 20 different countries, even for our very small student population. So that is really to provide diversity to, for exchange of ideas, and for everybody to have a better appreciation of the region as well. Okay. Okay, I think there's one last question before we close the session. There is a question on commitments after getting the SSA. So that was the early application exercise that I mentioned earlier. Actually, no. The SSA is just a means for us to provide an early indication to you. There is no bond. There is no commitment needed. Of course, by giving you an early indication, we hope that you will get more time to find out more about this university and have more time to make that important decision. But as I mentioned, we if you do accept our offer early, actually we have an early matriculation exercise. So if you are ready to accept our offer, you can actually join in as a SUTD student without taking the formal classes even before term start. So there are some perks of joining SSA. Okay, so I think I would need to close off this session so that you have time to join the other sessions for the rest of the day. Do join us and do find out more. I just also want to share this slide with you. In case you want to find out more about SUTD, actually we have a campus immersion program on a Saturday every month. In fact, the next campus immersion program will be the following Saturday, where you get to talk to an admissions officer, a student ambassador. Today we didn't manage to get a student to join us, but I think many of you will be interested to talk to a student of SUTD. So you get to talk to a student ambassador and you get to go on a tour of the campus. Because of the current COVID situation, this campus immersion program will be done online, virtually, including the campus tour. So you can go to our website to find out more about this CIP and to sign up for it. I also urge all of you to follow us on social media. These are all our social media channels in which you can do so, or to join our mailing list so that you can find out more about the university. And last but not least, I know next week is the recess week, and we actually have an online workshop on designing an AI chatbot. AI is now the hype. Everybody is excited and interested to find out more about what AI is about. Because of this virtual fair, we have specially extended the registration deadline for the workshop to tomorrow noon time. So we reserve a number of places in case some of you are interested. So if you're keen, do sign up for it. Closing is noon tomorrow. The workshop is on Monday morning. And again, you can please feel free to scan this QR code that I have here, or go to our website to register your interest. Okay, with that, I will close the session today, and thank you very much for spending this 1 hour with me. Thank you very much for your time. Bye-bye.